Here are some of my favorite games. So I want to get things started with talking about my early experiences with gaming, like my first memories of gaming, and then kind of working my way through to where I am now and how I kind of got back into gaming as an adult. For those of you that don't know, my name is Emma, and this is Once Upon a Quest, my gaming channel, which I started 3 months ago in January of 2022. So yeah, thanks for checking it out and for watching this, and I hope you enjoy. I was about 3 or 4 years old and we had a Sega console, and I've kind of done a little bit of Googling and stuff, and I'm pretty sure it was the Sega Master System 2, and it had Alex Kidd built into it. I must have been like 3 or 4 playing those games. So a lot of my early gaming memories are me just being rubbish at games, but just enjoying them. And I mean, not much has changed. Some of my favorite games from my childhood were experienced through me watching my brother and my dad playing them. Alex Kidd, which was like, I don't really remember anything about it except that there was rock, paper, scissors in it. And at the very start of the game, you're like up here and then you have to jump down and there's things that you punch. I think punching is important in that game. I think that's your main weapon or something. I don't know. I really don't remember. I was really small, okay? And then Echo the Dolphin, I really remember because I loved that game just because it was a dolphin and you got to swim around in the ocean. And in the very beginning of the game, there's like the starter area where you're just supposed to like learn how to swim and jump, and then you're supposed to jump up really high, and then that triggers the next part of the game where you leave that area and you go on. But I remember just really enjoying swimming up back and forth and jumping, but I was like, didn't want to jump too high because I didn't want to progress the game because I was just having too much fun just swimming around. My dad was playing it and they got further into it. I think they might have finished the whole game. I don't really remember. I do remember there being like a giant blue whale, and I remember there being another dolphin that you had to like find and like bring somewhere, but that's kind of it. That's kind of all I remember, but loved that game. Didn't play it very well because I was like, 3? Yeah, and then we also had the Lion King game, which I remember jumping on giraffe heads, that like you jumped on the giraffe head and then they would like go down and you'd fall off. So you had to like jump. And then there was, I think, hyenas that you fought or something. That's really all I remember of that though. And yeah, so they're kind of my really, really early gaming memories. And then after we had the Sega system, we got a PlayStation. We played a lot of Time Crisis, which was really cool because you got this gun that came with it, and then you got to point the gun at the screen and actually like shoot the characters on the screen. Like it was kind of like, I suppose, like an arcade game, but at home. And I really remember the sound effects from those games. But yeah, so I know my dad played a lot of that. My dad and my brother played that, and like they were obviously better than me because I was still only like really small. But I remember playing the game and I remember watching them play the game, and it was really good fun. Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, like, I don't know which one. I presume it's the first one where there's, all I remember is Uzis. There's Uzis in it, and there's a mansion, and there's an obstacle course outside the mansion, and there's a butler, and there's something about, for some reason, locking him in a fridge. I don't know why. Tigers. I'm pretty sure there's tigers at some point in that game. Like, I really don't remember, but I'm pretty sure I watched my brother play that more than I actually played it. Because again, small, incompetent video game person. All right. And then Silent Hill. Silent Hill is another one that I remember just being absolutely terrified of it. I did not play it. I watched my brother play it, and it was so scary. I just remember there being like fog and mist and not being able to see what the hell is happening, and it being really just scary. And there was some weird flying thing that attacked you and it was really hard. But yeah, one of my most memorable games that I absolutely loved, that I was shite at playing. I don't think I even really played it because I was really terrible at playing it. But my brother played the whole thing and I watched him play every second of it, and I just loved it. And it was more like, for me, it was more like watching a movie. But it was so exciting. And it was Metal Gear Solid 1998, I believe it was. So, like, I just remember that game being so exciting, and the music and the sound effects like I have so strongly in my mind. Like it was just amazing. It was such a good game. And I remember being really attached to the girl character in it, whose name is Mabel or Meryl or something. And I should probably go and play it myself sometime because my memory of it is absolutely just from watching someone else play it. But I would still say it's one of my favorite games. Isn't that weird? I don't know. Do you do that? Does anyone else do that? Does anyone else have early gaming memories where you're like, oh my God, that game is like one of my favorite games ever? But I've never played it. I've only watched someone else play it. Okay, so when I was a bit older and I was able to play games myself, or I was less afraid to, or whatever it was, I really got into GTA. We had the original GTA Grand Theft Auto game, and I think we must have had GTA 2 as well. And I remember we definitely had GTA London as well. The view was all top down. If you remember them, like you remember, like it was just so fun to just go around and like just get wasted and like get busted and like whatever else words would come up, and like you could walk on the train line or something and get electrocuted to death. And like, sure, I used to do that just because it was fun. And then I used to just go and practice my driving. So GTA was a big one. It was really, really fun. I kind of stopped playing it after, like, I never really got into GTA 3. I never got into it once it kind of changed from the top down. Like my brother did. He played, I think, all of them. I didn't really, I don't know. I guess it just I wasn't into it at the time. So yeah, I haven't played any of the GTAs since GTA 1, 2 and GTA London. A game that I played all the way through to the end, and actually it's probably one of the few games I actually played all the way to the end and beat the final boss and everything, was Spyro 2, which was called Gateway to Glimmer here. And I think it has a different name. Absolute gem of a game. Loved it. Completed it. Me and my childhood friend played it all the time. I helped her with her game. She helped me with my game. Like, we were just playing it so much. Like, brilliant, brilliant game. Absolutely love Spyro. Except for those flying levels. If you know, you know. The flying levels. Like, I raged. I raged a lot. Flying levels, bane of my life. We also played Nintendo 64. We played GoldenEye. I remember that. Played GoldenEye. Again, I wasn't so into it too much, but I did play, like, I think the multiplayer where you could go around and shoot each other in an arena or something. And but my brother played that one a lot. And of course we were all playing like Mario Kart and Crash Bandicoot and stuff. PC gaming then as well. Like I spent many, many hours playing The Sims, the original Sims game. So many hours, I'd say, playing that. It was just such a great game. And then I think The Sims 2 was probably when they started adding in the expansion packs, like when you could go on holidays or when you could go on dates and all this kind of thing. I think that must have been The Sims 2 where they started adding all that stuff. And then The Sims 3 was pets, I think. But anyway, played loads of that. So that was in like 2000 or something when that came out. So I was around like 7, 8, 9, 10 playing all these games. I also remember a really random PC game, which was, I looked it up since because I was like, what was that called? It's called Lego Island and it came out in 1997. And it was a Lego game where you're on an island and for some reason there's pizza delivery and there's policemen. And I think there's something to do with a pizza burglar, or there's a burglar, or at some point in the game, you're in a helicopter, like a police helicopter, and you're throwing pizzas down to catch the burglar. I have no idea if that even makes sense, but that's what I remember. Anyone who's into horse games, by the way, I played a really random horse game that I've looked up since. I've had a hard time looking up this game because it's really obscure, but it was called Willowbrook Stables Search for the Golden Horseshoes. Does anyone know this game? Because it like barely exists on the internet. It doesn't even have like a Wikipedia page or anything. The whole plot of the game and the end of the game is a mystery to me also because I couldn't finish it because I think it just had a bug or a glitch or something and I couldn't progress the quest and I had to abandon it. But I do remember having fun playing as this main character called Emma in the game and just having fun, like riding around on my horse and I don't know, searching for clues and stuff. It was quite fun. Another game I played loads of on PC was Age of Empires 2, I think specifically 2. Age of Empires, oh my God, just so much fun. So much fun. But yeah, love that game. It's so good. And we had the Game Boy. So we had the original, I don't know if it's called the original Game Boy, but we had the Game Boy, the grey one, the chunky grey one. And then I also had a Game Boy Color later on. So we played Pokemon, one of the best games I think I've ever played in my whole life. I remember the first one came out with Pokemon Blue. So we had that. And then, so we kind of played, me and my brother kind of played that together on the Game Boy. We kind of like took turns, but it was mostly like him playing and me watching. And then sometimes I'd get to play. You know the way out there if you've got siblings. And then I got Pokemon Red. And then so Pokemon Red became my game and he had Pokemon Blue. We got Pokemon Yellow, which was the one with Pikachu in it, where Pikachu follows you around. I played and absolutely loved Pokemon Gold. So there's Pokemon Gold and Silver, and Pokemon Gold, I think I've probably spent the most hours playing and loved the most. Just fucking amazing. It was so good. So good. So that's my kind of childhood experience of gaming, like from very, very early on to when I'm kind of like, you know, an early heading into my teenage years. But I kind of stopped gaming really then. In my teenage years, I didn't really game at all. Like the odd game of Mario Kart here and there, but that was kind of it. It was only after I finished college, really, that I kind of happened to get back into gaming as an adult. Yeah, when I was in my early 20s, moved in with someone who had an Xbox 360. So the Xbox 360 was there. And they were playing this game called Skyrim. And I was like, so I remember watching them play it and I was like, well, so what? So wait, so what? So you can just go anywhere you want. Like you can see that mountain over there, like halfway across the world. You could just walk there. Like that was mind blowing to me. Like it was amazing. And then like a dragon came down and he was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to fight this dragon right now. And I was like, wait, what? Sorry, what? You're not running for your life. You're going to fight a dragon? What? That was it. I was like, I have to play this game. This sounds fantastic. I have to play this game. I have no idea how many hours I spent in Skyrim, but I played it the whole way through and I think one of the main thing I loved about it was that you could do magic. And I was just super excited to be able to, like, you can cast spells and do magic. I was like, this is amazing. I love this. Like, it was so cool. It was the first time for me ever playing an open world game. It was the first time really playing a modern game. Yeah. I mean, if you think about the change in gaming from like 2000 to like 2010, I think Skyrim came out in 2011. But if you even take that like decade of gaming where I wasn't really playing games, like the difference between playing a game like Skyrim was just mind-blowing. It was mind-blowing and eye-opening. So I kind of got back into gaming then as an adult and kind of, had my eyes open to this whole other world. And then after I played Skyrim, I was recommended to play Fallout. And at first I wasn't sure if I'd like Fallout because I don't really go for like shooter games. Like, and Fallout, to me, it looked like it was very focused on guns. It wasn't a type of game that I would have gone like, oh yeah, I really want to try that. It was more like it was recommended to me and I was like, okay, I'll try this out. So Fallout 4 was my first Fallout game. And because it was my first Fallout game, I think was my favorite one, just because it has so many great memories of discovering the whole franchise and discovering the universe and that type of game, and just absolutely loved it. Loved it. Still love Fallout. And since then I've played like the other ones. I played Fallout New Vegas after that. And then I played Fallout 3 after that. So I played them kind of in reverse order of how they came out. But love the Fallout series. The whole kind of like futuristic, but like kind of 60s vibe or 50s vibe or whatever it's supposed to be. Like it's just really, really iconic and it's just a lot of fun. Like, and there's just so much exploration and just finding mad stuff in the game. You just be like wandering around. I remember Fallout 4, like I'd be like, okay, I'm going to do this mission, and you couldn't go like 5 feet without being distracted by something that's happening over here because there's just so much to do. There was so much in that map. It was amazing. I think shortly after that, I got introduced to another one of my favorite games ever, Red Dead Redemption. And again, it was like probably a game that I wouldn't have necessarily thought that I would go for or I would enjoy. But anyway, like played it and just fell in love. Like I loved like the horse riding in it was just so realistic. And now if you look back at Red Dead 1, you're kind of going like, oh wow, that doesn't look so great. But at the time I just remember being like, this is super realistic. And I still think it's actually way better than a lot of the horse riding in other games that I've seen. Loved the character of John Marston, loved the story, loved like how the kind of world felt, like the characters felt real and alive and just like really memorable. It was a really, really memorable gaming experience. And yeah, I think I was like, wow, I didn't even probably realize that gaming could be like that. So again, this is all me very, very much like kind of slowly reintroducing to gaming as an adult and being like, wow, like mind-blowing, eye-opening, amazing. More recently, I played Red Dead 2, and Red Dead 2, like, holy moly. I think it might be at the top of my list of favorite games I've ever played ever. I don't know what's going to dethrone it because just the amount, I remember just playing the game and just being amazed by the amount of detail and being amazed at how real the world feels. Like when you're walking around the camp and like the gang members are saying, they're just like talking to each other. Like, there's so much that's happening without you even around. Like there's little conversations and stuff that people are talking to each other all the time and things are happening. And like, if you're not walking by and paying attention, like it's still happening. So it felt really, really real. And then every time, like if you did something in the story or you did a quest or whatever, like the things that people would say to you and their attitudes towards you would change. And like they might just walk past you and say something in passing about a quest that you just did. And I remember thinking like, holy shit, like the level of detail and reality that brings to this game is just amazing. So loved Red Dead 2. The story was so fun. The exploration was so fun. The world was beautiful. The horse riding is so majestic. It's just awesome. I actually played and kind of stopped around chapter 3 and went away, and I didn't go back to it because I was getting a bit overwhelmed with, I thought that the story was moving really fast. And so I kind of left it and I got a little overwhelmed with it. And then I came back to it like a year and a half later and played it through to the end. And I was like, wow, this game is probably my favorite game ever. And everyone should play it. It's just fantastic. So if you've kind of done the same thing, if you've played Red Dead 2 and you've gotten like a little overwhelmed with it, I would recommend you go back and finish it and see it through, because it is worth it. It is so worth it. So good. It's just so good. So co-op games have been really fun for me as well. So I played a lot of Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2. So good. I spent loads and loads of hours playing those co-op, and they were just really, really fun. I really, really enjoyed that. And it's really fun too, because I suppose I played a lot of single player games, before that. So playing a co-op game was just like, again, like another kind of different branch of like eye-opening and like, oh, this is so cool. Played Diablo 3 as well, co-op. So Diablo 3 was just, it's just fun because it's fast paced and you're kind of like just button smashing and looting, and like it's just fun. And the cutscenes, I remember thinking the cutscenes were amazing. I remember looking at the cutscenes being like, this animation is just sublime. Played Elder Scrolls Online as well a good bit, but I just don't think that the MMO kind of genre is for me. Like, it was really fun for the times that I did play it, but I don't know, there's just something about can't really get into that kind of genre. I don't know. Pillars of Eternity 2, I played Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire. Really, really enjoyed that. I played that on my own. It's definitely more of a kind of story game. It's more text-based. I think that I picked Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire over playing the first one first, because the second one was like set in a kind of archipelago and you're on a ship and you get to have a crew. And that just super appealed to me because I love sailing and pirate themed anything. Like, so that just appealed to me. And yeah, really, really recommend that game. And I think I'll play the first game at some point. I don't know if it's the type of game I would play on the channel or not, because it might be quite long. But I do want to play the first game at some point. But yeah, the second one, really, really, really enjoyed that. So more recently as well, I played a Plague Tale, which I will definitely remember. Like, that was such a memorable game as well. Like, more than anything, it was atmospheric and like, yeah, it was just this kind of ominous atmosphere, and it was kind of gritty and horrifying and really fun. Just really like, it was like edge of your seat stuff, because it's very much like stealthy game play, which I'm usually fucking terrible at. The music was fantastic, and the atmosphere, and it's just so dark, and like the rats, oh my god, like I really, really recommend playing it. Just so good. And the new one is coming out, Plague Tale. So that was a Plague Tale Innocence, and the new one, A Plague Tale Requiem, is coming out at some point. I think maybe this year. And I'm definitely 100% going to play that. I'll probably play that on the channel because just, yeah, love the first one. Really recommend that one. And that was on Game Pass. I think it's still on Game Pass now, so you can go and play it there. So that kind of brings us up to a bit more recently. So I got a PS5 last year, and so I started playing PlayStation. So before that I had Xbox and Xbox One, and then got PS5. So I always had wanted to play The Last of Us. That was like the first thing I did. So I got the PS5, and the first thing I did was play The Last of Us, because I'd wanted to play that for a long time. And it was so good. Like, it was really, really well done. It was kind of like challenging to me, but I suppose I kind of surprised myself in that, because it was stealth and survival kind of crafting as well. Like, you have very few supplies, so you kind of have to be, conservative with your ammo and with your medicine supplies and all this kind of stuff. So that's kind of usually a challenge for me. But like, I loved the game. Like, the story and the characters was just brilliant. Like, from the very beginning, that intro sequence before the opening credits, like before the opening title sequence, is like, I mean, talk about getting you hooked, and talking about just ripping your heart out and just bringing you right into a game and just a world and a story and characters. Like, really, really recommend Last of Us to anyone who hasn't played it. I've played Horizon Zero Dawn, which was fantastic as well. Really, really enjoyed the gameplay, and the kind of the archery. Again, was another game that I didn't think that I would like, just because I'd seen some gameplay of it, and I just was like, oh, it's really stealthy. It's like you have to pick different types of arrows for different types of monsters. And I just thought, like, I'm not usually really into things being like super technical like that. But I have to say, like, I was totally wrong, because once you play it, you realize like the combat system is actually really smooth, and it's really like, it's not overwhelming. Like, I was worried that it would be overwhelming for me. But I actually found it really, really good. I think they did a really good job of kind of teaching you things at different stages throughout. And then the story is just so intriguing and like really, really fun. And the whole world is just makes you question like everything. And there's really, really cool things kind of littered around in the world for you to find out more about like what happened, and like just really, really fun. Really, really enjoyed that game. And then, of course, when I was done playing the game, I had to go and watch like the documentary of the making of the game by NoClip. Like, that's what I do. Whenever I finish a game, I just go and watch, like, if there's any making of documentaries, I'll go watch them. I'll go watch like panels of people talking about the game. Yeah, I'll just kind of like eat it all up when I'm finished a game. And I'll watch like Let's Plays, especially if I've just finished a game. I'll want to go up on YouTube and watch someone else experiencing what I've experienced. Just throwing it in there as a little extra game at the end. I've been really enjoying this cozy little game called Spiritfarer, which is a cozy management sim about dying, is how it's described. Again, like a cozy management sim wasn't something I thought that I would be into, because I've tried like Stardew Valley and I just like wasn't into it. But Spiritfarer, I've really, really been enjoying that, because sometimes you just need a game where you're not fighting anything and you're just like having fun, and it's beautiful and there's lovely music and the animation is lovely. And yeah, it's just been really fun to play that and kind of chill out too. So I've definitely forgotten to mention some games. So anything that I've forgotten, which I will, because I am forgetful, I will add in a comment below other games that I've played and really enjoyed, because there's definitely going to be other ones that I've totally forgotten to mention. Thank you if you've watched this far in the video. I'd like to know if you've played any of the games that I've mentioned in the video. So especially the older ones, like if you played Alex Kidd and Echo and Time Crisis and Metal Gear Solid and all these ones that I can barely remember. Let me know what your experiences are with your early memories of gaming. Like, what was the first game that you remember playing? And like, yeah, did you have a similar experience to me where you watched someone else playing a game and experienced it like that way? Or yeah, just tell me, because I'm kind of fascinated by this. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, please tell me all about your favorite games in the comments and your early memories of playing games when you were a kid as well. If you did play as a kid, or if you're only discovering gaming as an adult, please tell me what that was like as well, because I found it eye-opening playing as an adult. If you have any recommendations of what games you think I should play next, or what games you'd like to see me play next, please do let me know in the comments. And especially for shorter games as well that I can kind of play alongside of the main game that I'm playing, just to add in a bit of variety and kind of spice things up a little bit. Because otherwise I'll be playing like one game kind of for a long time. Yeah, any recommendations for like shorter games that are maybe like 10 hours or less, please do let me know if you can think of any good ones there that I could play, because I'd love to see your recommendations and your own gaming experiences. So please do drop a comment, and thank you so much for watching this video, and please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next one. So thank you. Bye.